State University of New York trustee, Mr. Howard, Provost McGrath, President Shirley Kenny, I accept and treasure this honor which you have bestowed on me today. It is an honor for me because the university is a place that has challenged and shaped my whole being. And in my filmmaking too, I rely on the university for the scholars whose knowledge, research, and illuminating advice are the foundation of the documentary films I make on history. Among the blessings I count in my life is that I was at the university during the 1950s and 60s at a time of three of the most defining moments in the history of our country: the McCarthy period, the civil rights struggle in the South, and the Vietnam War. These were times when students and faculty made a collective leap between campus and community, between individual concerns and public actions on issues of social justice. The university itself was a focal point for these important social struggles. How could one not be affected and transformed by it? Yet, in the beginning, I was not political, the issues not being something I particularly cared about or felt I understood. But a fellow graduate student who shared my office in sociology was political. She went one day to the City Hall in San Francisco to join a protest at a hearing of the McCarthyite House Un-American Activities Committee. Facing a locked door and insisting on being admitted to the meeting, the protesters were ultimately removed by the use of fire hoses. The called-in fire department flooded the hallways, destroying office carpeting, no doubt, but most effectively removing the protesters, washing them down the central spiral staircase of hard marble at San Francisco's beautiful City Hall. Surely that will teach them a lesson. Nothing so focuses the mind as having your life at stake or witnessing someone else's life at stake. I gave that event a great deal of thought. The City Hall image merged with other images of the time: water cannons and snarling dogs in Birmingham, Alabama, the image of a smiling Klansman sheriff after the murder of 3 civil rights workers in Mississippi, my husband David in the South during Mississippi summer, sending out radio reports, being caught and beaten with chains by Klansmen, yet also entering an empty black church, sitting alone and moved by the Spirit to sing out loud, "Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around." Then the Vietnam War, with its body counts and fleeing civilians who undeniably looked like me. The power of these images is that they tell the truth dramatically. What will we do if the images are missing, hidden from us? When injuries to people are called collateral damage, and there is a growing, almost total control on what we are allowed to see at all because of security. My husband David and I have a daughter, May Ying, who is right now in Iraq. She is there as an independent video journalist looking to capture truthful images to send out for the rest of us to see. The risk to a loved one, as I said, focuses the mind. So I think of Iraq every day, all the more unwilling to leave it to our leaders to act in our name, without hard questioning, without serious objection. My dear friend and esteemed colleague, Professor Gary Marr of your philosophy department here at Stony Brook, once told me that Arnold Toynbee spoke about those who default from participating in the defining historical moments of their time. He called them truants from history. Receiving this honor from you today, I think also of 2 students of mine in Berkeley who did act on their moment of history. Roberto Hernandez and Luis Ochoa were both part of a nonviolent campus sit-in for Palestinian rights. New university rules banned such rallies. Almost 30 students were arrested and placed on academic suspension, compromising their student financial aid, and Roberto, as an identified leader, was threatened with his graduation diploma being withheld. Imagine if you could not attend this convocation today with your friends and proud relatives. Speaking to my students, I want to express my respect for them. I want to say to them, each time you speak truth to power, I honor you. Each time you take a risk for the sake of your ideals and fall, I honor you. Each time you rise to act again, I honor you. From my family, there's only my husband here today, but I would not want to leave you with one final family image that I carry with me always. It is a blessing that my mother gave to me in a crisis between us when I was 19. I had won a summer scholarship to join a Quaker work camp the American Friends Service Committee ran in a small village outside Mexico City, a village with no water or electricity. This was no year-round, year-abroad program. It was a time before the Peace Corps or VISTA. My mother could not understand why I would want to go to such a place. Further, my older sisters vigorously disapproved, confirming her worst fears by painting scenarios of my trip that all ended in disasters. I knew they would object, but felt I owed it to my sisters for all those years of looking after me as the youngest, to hear them out. 3 days of steady harangue, trying to talk me out of it, which I can endure because I had my bus ticket in hand and was determined to go no matter what. My mother stopped talking to me, withdrawing into her room, weeping, and never came out during the 3 days. When I had packed my one suitcase and sleeping bag, I knocked on her door. Mama, Mama, I'm ready to leave now. My mother came out, looked me up and down, picked up the sleeping bag. You didn't do it right, she said. She had never slept a sleeping bag in her life, but she rolled it up again, tight like a sausage, and showed me how I could carry the suitcase and sleeping bag in one arm and have the other hand free. Then she gave me some money and said, if I ran into trouble, I should call home, walking me to the door. All the time, she was weeping, and so was I. I can see her as she stood by the door, sending me out into life, and it has brought me all the way here today. I wish for everyone present at this convocation that you have someone like that in your life, and also that you would do the same for someone else, giving them your support, your belief in them, helping send them on their way in life. Thank you for this wonderful honor and this wonderful occasion to speak to you.